Wow, the boat looks great. We're heading for Long Beach, and we're going to have our first night behind Oil Island White.
Right, we're outward bound on our 19-day trip. Really looking forward to it.
That's what's fun about a boat. We're just setting off, kind of having an adventure. We kind of want to get to Santa Barbara, so we're just going to take our time.
So up the coast, and here we are coming into Long Beach, and look at that beautiful race with all the boats with their spinnakers up.
Yeah, just when we were sailing by the Long Beach Marina, the Wednesday night yacht race was on, and those were Catalina 27s. It looked like there were about 10 of them with the red and white spinnakers.
And there's White's Island. It's an oil island, and from a distance it's beautiful, and up close it's even more beautiful.
Look at that, an oil island with a waterfall. Pretty darn cool. I'll tell you, we were ready to get there. It took us 6 hours.
Right, and the next morning the sun came out. We dried out all of our foul weather gear and watched with great interest all the different things happening in the harbor.
You know, and I said, Marty, it took a lot of time and trouble to finally leave Newport Beach. Why don't we just stay an extra day and hide behind this oil island?
That sounded like a good idea to me, so we did, and then the next morning off we went, heading up to LA Harbor.
And this was really fun. We had a reef mainsail, we had the little staysail. The wind, really at like 10 o'clock in the morning, it was already blowing about 15 or 18 knots. So we sailed inside the breakwater and all the way to San Pedro. We just had a great sail.
Right, we get to go by a cruise ship and by a little bit of Long Beach Harbor, and then we're starting to approach LA Harbor.
Yeah, that's the Queen's Gate right there.
Beautiful, and all these different big cruise ships, or not cruise ships, they're I guess boat carriers that are anchored there.
Okay, that was the LA light, and now we're heading right into LA Harbor. We're going by the Coast Guard dock. Marty's at the wheel, wind's on the beam, and it's a beautiful day.
It's always fun to come into LA Harbor, and there's the Iowa.
Yeah, battleship, how about that? I love seeing that thing.
And there's one of the different cruise, or one of the different
I think it's a container ship.
container ships, yeah.
Boy, do we feel small there. That thing is almost 1,000 feet long. We're 38 feet.
Evergreen's one of our favorites because they paint everything green, which is interesting to see.
That's Chet Salisbury's, that's Tioga. That's a Hershoff boat. Chet was an old friend, and that boat has been up there now for years.
And here's a container ship that they're going to be loading.
We're clear up at the end of the harbor there. That's the old Ford Avenue Bridge, and it's a railroad bridge now. This is the old colonial yacht anchorage, which has been condemned.
I hope they come in and do something new about that, because there's lots of boats there, and there would probably be more boats if they had more good docks.
Anyway, we're going to spend the night at what we call Wayne's World. Wayne is a shipwright, and he's got a little piece of waterfront there in LA Harbor, and we're just going to show up, and hopefully he'll have a side tie for us next to one of the boats.
Right, it's always fun to go to Wayne's World and see what's happening there, and we get to side tie or be right there where the container ships are.
That's the Mayan. That was David Crosby's schooner. Wayne lives on that tugboat right there, and there's a lot of beautiful work going on a lot of these wooden boats. This is one of the few places you can really get first-class work. That's the Mayan. Those are the winches that are going back aboard the Mayan. New cockpit going in the Mayan. That's La Volpe, an Engelman schooner, and teak decks, beautiful boat, been up there almost 5 years. That boat's been up there about 2 years, getting a complete restoration. This power boat is absolutely awesome, totally restored. Rosa Sharon, a Starling Burgess schooner. There's really some lovely boats up there. This is a big schooner that we side tied. We look so small. The schooner's about 65 feet. This is a scene in the evening. This big cargo ship, or container ship, they turned it right around. It's about 10 o'clock at night, and they are leaving the harbor. Ships are on the move there 24/7. It's the next morning now. It's quite foggy. We're trying to get to Marina del Rey. We don't want to go out into the fog. We wouldn't have left if it wasn't clear here, but we're in for a surprise here in a few minutes.
Right, as we head out, there's a little bit of fog, but now all of a sudden there's more fog and more fog and more fog. And luckily Ernie used the GPS so we could even figure out what the heading would be so that it would take us out the Angel's Gate.
This is the Vincent Thomas Bridge we're going under. I think the fog in the air makes for some kind of pretty pictures, though.
It looks like it's nighttime, nightfall, late evening, but it's not. It's morning, and that's the difference that the fog makes.
Anyway, fog in the daytime it's bad, but it's a lot worse at night. So anyway, we're committed. We're on our way to Marina del Rey. There's the Iowa kind of disappearing in the fog. There was a big ship. It's about 7 o'clock in the morning now. The ship's coming into LA Harbor.
Right, they're on the move all the time, and there's the tug coming to help make sure it gets to the right spot in the harbor.
We continued on. We went out the LA breakwater with almost no visibility. We were using the GPS and a chart, and we saw nothing until the breakwater at Marina del Rey, probably about 4 hours later. So we went in, went to the California Yacht Club. We belonged to another yacht club, and they were very nice. They gave us a nice guest slip, and we stayed 3 days in Marina del Rey. This is some pictures walking the docks. There's some really, really interesting and beautiful boats up there. This is just around the docks. This is an Ocean Racer natural hull. Look at it, it's even got little window decorations in the hull. Totally awesome. There's just some beautiful, beautiful boats up there.
So we enjoyed being in Marina del Rey. We had the opportunity to walk around and look at some of the restaurants, some of the areas that used to be shopping little shops, and walk around. And now we're actually cruising Marina del Rey in our boat and checking out some of their new construction that they're doing. And look at that boat.
That's Christine. That's a big race boat that's been up there about 20 years. Well, this is kind of interesting here. This is, a lot of yacht clubs have opening days and closing days. This is closing day at Cal Yacht Club. And they had some drum guys there, all dressed in Civil War kind of outfits. They lowered the flag. In a minute, they're going to shoot the cannon. That's the dock master, who became quite a good friend of ours. There goes the cannon. He didn't hardly flinch, did he? And here's the guys with the drums and the flutes. It was really, really a lot of fun to watch these guys.
And there we are at our dock. We were very happy to be there. There's one of our neighbors.
Yeah, beautiful little swan. Okay, it's the next morning. We've been 3 days in Marina del Rey, and we're now, the weather looks like it's going to be good. There shouldn't be any fog. We're on our way to Channel Islands-Marina or Oxnard. And this is going outside of Marina del Rey.
We were happy to see the sunshine and the weather clearing so that we would have some good sailing on the way up to Oxnard.
Right, that's the Marina del Rey breakwater. Luckily the wind now, we had a kind of an easterly breeze. Set all of our sails. We still have the reef in the main. Probably in about 2 hours, we're off Point Doom, which is up by Paradise Cove, where all the movie stars live. And we rounded the corner, and we're on our way to Oxnard Harbor. That's a power plant up there by the missile range. This is looking at Port Hueneme, and just a little bit further, you have the breakwater into Channel Islands.
So this is really a nice harbor to come into. It's well marked. It's easy to navigate once you get in, and we really like coming into Channel Islands Harbor. We've been there before and always enjoy returning. So there is one of the Coast Guard stations. Always like seeing that. And some of the other boats, and here I am taking pictures.
And in Oxnard, we went to the Pacific Corinthian Yacht Club. They gave us a guest card, and we said we'd like to stay for maybe 2 or 3 days. They said no problem. Here's the keys to the shower, and that was going to like be our home away from home.
So we walked around and went to the museum, which we really enjoyed. It was not open, but we went next door to an educational center that they have, and that was really interesting.
That picture of the boat in the surf, that was one of those brigantines that takes young people out. A couple of years ago, they hit a sandbar there. Also, here's a shot aboard kind of a tour boat inside Oxnard Harbor, and there was a wedding going aboard.
That was really fun. They came by where we were tied up at the yacht club several times, including at night. This is a beautiful shot. Next morning, we are off, heading out, and really enjoyed our stay there, but it was time to head for Ventura Harbor.
It's only 8 miles away, so this is a motorboat ride. That's our trusty Yanmar diesel. We love it, and it just runs like a sewing machine. It took us just about an hour to get to Ventura Harbor. We're now coming into the harbor. That's the National Park headquarters right there. And this is kind of a little tour around inside Ventura Harbor. We decided that we're going to try to get a guest slip at the Ventura Yacht Club, and we did.
So one of the things interesting about Ventura is they have quite an active fishing fleet, as you can see from all of these large boats that are out there, not right this minute, but they're out and bringing in fish.
There we are at the guest dock at the Ventura Yacht Club. Marty and I went for a little walk around Ventura. That sailboat, the Mistress, my brother and I raced at the Honolulu race about 15 years ago.
It was fun to have both the harbor and all the boats, but be able to walk around and look at what was happening in the harbor. These are a couple of boats that were pretty unfortunate. We're not exactly sure what happened to them, but they needed repair.
Yeah, they were in the boatyard. The one boat went under a bridge that was too low and ruined the fly bridge. The other one hit a rock and sank. This is the Ventura Yacht Club. Lovely people. They were very, very nice. I think it's Wednesday night. There's going to be a yacht race. We thought we'd go and try to get a few pictures, so we walked over to the beach and we waited on the breakwater. We can, at the distance, see the race out there. Small craft warnings are up. We know it's going to be a little bumpy because we're leaving tomorrow.
It was really nice to be out there and watch the boats coming in, watch the sunset. It's a beautiful harbor. We really enjoy it. And this was a new addition to what we usually can do and see there.
And here's a few of the small race boats coming in. They got the spinnakers up. In a minute they jibe and go back to the yacht club. Just at sunset, really pretty scene. See the guy moving the spinnaker pole over the other side? Very nicely done. Ventura is just a happening place, really. It is really amazing. Oxnard, I don't know, it seems like they've got a ways to go, but Ventura, there's lots of new construction. It's a really nice harbor. They've got a lot of commercial stuff going on there, plus it's a great yachting harbor too. Abracadabra, how's that for a boat name?
They're bringing their boats back in right by where we're tied up, and we visited with these guys, bringing their boat around. Before they left, they set their boats up earlier in the afternoon and had them ready to go for the race.
The little boats, they
6:05 in
haul
the
out,
morning.
keep on trailers up at the yacht club.
Marty has been giving me every excuse not to leave
There we are.
port.
Happy
She said it's not going to be daylight till 6:58, and that the binnacle light doesn't work, and we would have to hold a flashlight, and she needs a second cup of coffee.
Now here we're picking up a little
And
bit
why
of
do
our
we
own
have to
voices,
leave so early in the morning? There she is, smiling, and I tell her
I love getting up early.
we're going to be in the Santa Barbara Channel. It's famous for lots of wind. There's no wind. We have a good weather report, and our ship sails on the tide, which this morning is going to be about 6:15. 21 miles to go to Santa Barbara, and we've got a great diesel engine. We're sneaking out of the marina.
Well, it's sunrise and we are leaving Ventura. We had a great time there. The people were really, really, really nice. Got a beautiful yacht club, good docks.
I know you love these early departures.
As long as I can see something, it's okay.
Look at it, it's getting light. It's probably about 6:30,
SEA and SEE.
and you had your coffee.
Yes, I have.
Ventura, man, is a happening place, no question about it.
Just getting to be daybreak. And this is leaving Ventura Harbor. As you can see from that red flag, there was small craft warnings up, and we went out around the corner. Luckily there was no wind, but there was like 4 to 6 foot swells. It made it pretty bumpy and pretty uncomfortable for the first couple hours on the way to Santa Barbara. Check that out, Santa Barbara, dead ahead. Stearns Wharf, beautiful day. Remember, Marty, red right returning, right?
Correct.
One of the first things we did, we went to the museum, and at the museum you can go up to like a 3rd story. You get some really good pictures and the view of Santa Barbara Harbor.
And that was Santa Barbara.
Skateboard,
Yacht Club.
$150 ticket.
And this is State Street. No trip to Santa Barbara would be good without at least a couple hours on State Street. This is some scenes from the museum. That was Pelican Harbor. This is Santa Barbara Harbor during the war, where they actually had a destroyer, and that's pictures of all the destroyers that went on the rocks up north of Santa Barbara back in the 30s. And that's the Goodwill at the finish of the Honolulu race.
Santa Barbara is really beautiful down on the waterfront. We took the opportunity to walk up to Shoreline Park.
And this was great. This guy's on a surfboard. It's got some kind of a hydrofoil bottom. He's 3 feet off the water, getting pulled by a kite. This is seen back at the Santa Barbara Harbor, and that's I think the city sailing program. And while we were there, a boat from Newport Beach came in, the Chabasco, on their way to San Francisco, and I took that shot, Kelpie, because that was the name of my dad's schooner. It was kind of fun to see the name on the back of a boat.
And this is a beautiful boat. You just saw, the Joy.
And this is a boat that when I was like 21, I went down to Cabo San Lucas and sailed it home with no engine.
There's the Joy. They're just getting ready to head out of the harbor.
That boat is gorgeous. Well, we've been in Santa Barbara now 5 days. There have been small craft warnings up, but we decided, what the heck, let's go to Santa Cruz Island. So we're on our way out of Santa Barbara Harbor, and we're going to shape a course for the end of Santa Cruz Island. Look at, we got a good breeze, we got the staysail up, we got the reef main. We're good for like 25 knots of wind, which was predicted in the afternoon. We got the radar reflector up. Luckily, there was no fog. And look at, we are like hauling butt. We're doing about 7.5. That's Santa Cruz Island off in the distance. And the further out we got, the wind went a little more aft. It never blew, I don't think, over 15 or 18 knots. We just had a beautiful, beautiful sail.
It made for an absolutely lovely day. Great to be in
Santa Cruz Island.
Hey, we made it.
How about that?
And my son, everything. We're happy.
And we didn't have any 12-foot seas and 25 knots of wind.
I'm glad about that. It was just fine.
So we're coming into what, Smugglers?
Smugglers at the
That's a
end.
beautiful
Yeah,
day.
that's, if the wind's out of the west, Smugglers is the best harbor to be in.
It's always fun to come into a harbor and see what, if any, boats are there, what they're doing, who's on a powerboat, who's on a sailboat. Beautiful picture of the that end of the island with the hole and the rocks there.
That's Anacapa way down to the east of us. In the afternoon, this frigate came out from Port Hueneme, and you know, this is all part of the Pacific Missile Range. And those two fish boats, we kind of wouldn't let them go anywhere. We figure they're doing a test firing of a rocket or missile, and the frigate is guarding the range. So we were anchored, spent the night, and we decided it's time to go back to Catalina Island. These boats left actually earlier than we did. It's probably about 6 o'clock in the morning. They're going, I think, to Santa Barbara, Ventura. We're going to go over to Anacapa and then shape course from Catalina. That's sunrise.
Good morning,
There's a wonderful
0800.
Yanmar diesel engine chugging away.
All right, let's go to Catalina where the sun shines.
Yay!
About 55 miles.
All right, all day.
So we say goodbye to Santa Cruz Island and head for Anacapa. Beautiful sunrise that morning.
That's one last look at Santa Cruz Island. Here's a chart where my finger is. You can see that's Smugglers. That's where we stayed. And then Anacapa's close by. It's only about 3 or 4 miles away. And earlier we showed a picture, and 10,000 years ago all these islands were hooked together, and there was a big giant bay up kind of above Santa Barbara. So things have changed over the last 10,000 years. There's a fish boat out there with a bunch of people, probably out of Ventura. Marty's smiling. Anacapa is sort of broken up. It's an interesting island. We're almost down to the east end. That's where the lighthouse is.
There's the lighthouse up on the top. You can barely see it, the little white thing sticking up there, but it really is a lighthouse that we could see actually when we were in Smugglers, away from it.
I love that picture with that big hole in the rock. Okay, the weather's nice. We've got kind of a northeasterly breeze to begin with. We set all of our sails. We still got the reef. And luckily we did, because later in the afternoon, you can see we're kind of tacking downwind. It's blowing about 18 or 20 knots. And we're going really, really, really well.
So we were out on the water for quite a while, but the sun was out. It was nice and warm. And we just kept right on going from Smugglers at a really good clip, moving right along and headed for the Isthmus.
Look, it's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's Catalina Island.
And we always say, land ho.
Land ho, there we are. We're going to go on into the Isthmus. I promised Marty, after all the rocking and rolling, I will rent a mooring in the Isthmus.
Yay, and I get a buffalo milk drink too.
Hey, we love the Isthmus. Look at that. It's, what was it, Friday? I can't remember what day.
Friday. Yeah, it was Friday.
That's the new area. They've brought in sand. They've got umbrellas. This is up at the Panning House looking over at Catalina Harbor. everything about Catalina is just great. Look at that beautiful harbor. We go back there quite often.
So after being out on the water for 10 hours, we really needed to stretch our legs, so we hiked up the hill, and there we are hiking. There I am with my buffalo milk drink.
Well,
That's
Marty,
right.
that was a really
Marty
great
always
2
has
days.
Well, we stayed 2 days
at the
Isthmus, and
It was.
started all. It was
a lot
time
of
to go
fun.
home, but we thought we'll go down to White's Cove and set sail from there. So it's probably, I don't know, 9 o'clock in the morning. We're heading down towards Avalon. These are just a few scenes as we run down the island of Long Point. That's one of the fast passenger boats going up to the Isthmus. Here's Long Point. That's White's Cove and some of the other coves around the corner there.
It was a busy day on the water. A lot of people out enjoying their boats.
These are great power boats. That one boat has been coming to Catalina for the last 25 years, and there was a second one very similar. Anyway, there was a nice breeze already. It's only about 11 o'clock. It's blowing about 15 or 18 knots. We've got all the sails up.
We're heeled over. We're moving along.
We're moving along on a reach, man. Reaching through life. That's what we like to do. There's the island behind us. We'll go back again. It's time to head back to Newport Beach. And you can see we're doing really good. We're doing about, the boat will do about 8 knots, so we're probably doing 7.5. That's one of the fast catamarans coming out of Long Beach going to Avalon. You gotta watch those guys. They cut you pretty close. Here's a guy heading to Catalina from Newport Beach. There's Fashion Island. Ho!
We did it. We found land.
Look at that. We're back at our dock in Newport Beach. We're out 19 days. Marty, how about that? Was that the best cruise ever?
It was. It was the best cruise ever.
Amen. Thank you.